Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar, which is actually an exciting feature launch from Indusface, where um, security leaders and IT leaders are able to get a clean zero-day vulnerability report in 72 hours. So what are the inner workings of this feature, and how can you leverage it in order to provide a clean zero vulnerability report for any compliance need that your organization have? We will cover these in details. So I am Funny, your moderator today. Before we get started on the whole presentation, a couple of housekeeping notes. There is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Should you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to ask them, and then we'll get to you at the end of the webinar. The second is to keep the session a little more engaging. We have poll questions throughout. Please answer them, and our panelist Vivek will discuss the results in the webinar. Now, this is the agenda that we have today, where we have a quick introduction about Indusface, then the enterprise story of vulnerabilities, the vulnerability fatigue that teams face today. And all of this leads to pressure on security teams if you have them, or the development teams. And then how do you get a zero vulnerability report in 72 hours? So yeah, about Indusface, we are about 150 plus employees. We have 5 offices worldwide. We've just opened our US headquarters in Dallas. We have 5,000 plus customers across 95 countries. We are growing at an incredible pace of 60% year on year. Now, coming to compliances and certifications, you name a certification or a compliance, we have it. So, whenever you choose to partner with us on your application security needs, we have it all covered. Now, coming to our major application security products, we have 3 product lines. The AppTrana application protection solution, which is a WAP solution as per Gartner, which is web application and API protection. Then we have Indusface WAS, which is a dashed scanner, and we also provide penetration testing services. And then finally, we also provide SSL certificates. Over the years, we have been recognized across various forums. Now, this is a graph that we are extremely proud of. We have 5,000 plus customers across 95 countries. And this is just a representative sample of customer logos that we have across various verticals. Then, out of all the recognitions that we have, this is something that we are extremely proud of. As you know, Gartner comes up with the peer insights for the WAP market, and we've been rated on the top right for 2 years in a row. And among all the large WAP providers globally, we are the only ones with a 100% customer recommendation rating on the WAP product. And given that we protect so many applications, every quarter we do a detailed study on what kinds of attacks we are seeing based on a representative sample of about 1,500 web applications. And we publish this as the State of Application Security report on the website. And this is covered across various newspapers. And for people who are interested, go to the website and download the report. Finally, without further ado, let me introduce our panelist for today, Vivekanand Gopalan, who is the VP of Products at Indusface. He has close to 15 years of experience in designing and building world-class products. A majority of that experience is in the security domain. Even prior to Indusface, he was in the security industry with Dhruva. And yeah, over to you, Vivek. I'm sure everybody is looking forward to the magic of getting a clean zero vulnerability report in 3 days.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks for the warm introduction. Let me just first share my screen and then I'll get started. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. Thanks, Vani, again for that warm introduction. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. This is the first webinar for Indusface, and we are very excited about the launch of the new feature and looking forward to the feedback from the ground and people like you using the product. Before I get into the crux of the today's webinar explaining the feature, I wanted to first talk about why did we decide to build this feature, right? And everything comes down to what we see as the emerging landscape when it comes to application security, and especially to start with how applications are growing in organizations. What we have realized over the years is that more and more many organizations are rapidly adopting various applications as they are deciding to go towards cloud. More and more they are using different kinds of applications. There are various applications that are launched, and on an average, we see that about 364 applications are there in an organization, and they are kind of consuming more than 5,000 to 10,000 API services. Now, these applications could be in-house applications built for teams or improving the efficiency of internal teams, or it could be applications built for their end consumers, or it could be third-party applications that they are using. But however, all these applications are now becoming internet-facing, and they are moving towards the cloud. Now, what does that mean, right? With the rapid phase of developments, what we have seen is more and more applications are going online with vulnerabilities exposed, right? What we mean by that is there is a public-facing application, and that applications have vulnerabilities which eventually could be exploited by malicious actors. Now, these vulnerabilities are there for various reasons. But all said and done, because of the rapid development, right, and as the applications are going, more and more the vulnerabilities are getting exposed. And as these applications hold critical data and sensitive data, as these applications get exploited, it leads to huge security risk, brand risk, compliance issues with the organization. Sometimes it becomes it becomes a really critical issues, and cybersecurity is nowadays being talked at the board level. Yeah, the application security report, which Fanny did mention about, has also talked about this. So across 1,400 sample applications that we have, we scan these applications using our dash scanner. This dash scanner is part of our both AppTrana product as well as Indusface VAS product. And as we scan these, we have found that there are about 29,000 vulnerabilities that have remained open across 1,400 sample sites in the last year. So that means about 20 to 25 critical or high vulnerabilities that have remained open. And this is not something that we are seeing only in through our scanners, right? This is also an industry trend. One of the recent studies of Fortune 500 companies has shown that these organizations have at least 450 critical vulnerabilities on an average exposed in a year. So that's a huge number, right? And because of these reasons, there is a huge concern around the industry that how are we going to protect against these vulnerabilities. Before we talk about that, you might be wondering, why is this even happening? I mean, everybody knows that vulnerabilities needs to be identified and fixed, and there are well set out guidelines that, hey, don't make a public application live without critical high medium vulnerabilities patched and all those things. But still, there are applications that are going live and which are there in the wild, which has these vulnerabilities. So what is the reason? Before I elaborate what we think are the reason, I just wanted to quickly play a soundbite where Sunil, CISO of Lean, talks about the same, right? Where we asked him the question that we are seeing more than 180 days. We are seeing that vulnerabilities remain open for more than 180 days. And what is the reason, right? And this is a conversation that Venki, our co-founder, had with Sunil. Let's hear from him.
And the numbers that you quoted, I kind of completely buy into that. And the complexity is both, your first party application and the third party application. So even for the first party application, having a software bill of material, an SBOM, as to, all the places where you are using the vulnerable version of Log4j. And are you using the vulnerable constructs of the Log4j? That's a very easy question to ask, very difficult to answer. Correct? Because first of all, you don't even have an SBOM. Correct? So how do you go about doing that? That's one aspect. And then the third party product or the software that you happen to use within your stack, finding out that dependency tree, whether they are using one of the vulnerable constructs, is also a fairly uphill task. Once you have that visibility, then you talked about the second set of challenge. Now, who is the owner of that application within your company? So that you can get it into part of their sprint cycle that this needs to be fixed by this timeline. Because then that's an internal organizational challenge. And there's no clear mapping of application to the team. If it's a monolith, it's even harder. If they're microservices and you have good attribution, but very few companies have reached that set of maturity. Most of them, don't have it. And hence I can completely buy into it taking 200 plus days. And hence virtual patching, because you cannot wait for those 200 plus days for the vulnerability to be sitting out there. So what do? You apply a virtual patch in your WAF so that at least you have applied a patch, you stop being vulnerable, you stop the bleeding, and then you have your time to fix the core issue.
So that's Sunil talking about why it is taking more than 180 days for organizations to fix the vulnerabilities that they know of. And if you are more interested about hearing the entire conversation, you can listen it in YouTube, Spotify, and other places. So let's get going, right? So it's not only what Sunil is saying, right? This is a problem that we are constantly seeing in the industry. This is something that we call as the vulnerability fatigue. The security organization who are responsible for the application security are overwhelmed with the kind of vulnerabilities that they are seeing. Because how the applications are developed with the agile process and everything, more and more in the quest of speed, there is a more inherent need to reuse codes, right? So essentially, many developers are either using third-party codes or open source codes, open source libraries in their product. All these things eventually leads to security risks, right? So, a developer might know all the best security practices, but he does not control how the open source libraries are used. So vulnerabilities in those open source libraries lead to issues. There are other reasons like legacy applications, right? One of the biggest reasons we see applications that remain vulnerable is legacy applications. And it's because applications are built over time, people churn and all those things. So eventually many organizations are left with just this software without people who knows the crux of it to maintain this, right? So if any new vulnerabilities are introduced, then it becomes a bigger challenge for them to get the right resources to fix those. Not only that, even if you have done all the things right, have found all, done your security tests, and then patched all the vulnerabilities and released it, there are new vulnerabilities being found every day. I mean, one of the log4j vulnerabilities that was, that was an existing library that was used widely across the world, and a new vulnerability was introduced on that log4j. So eventually, every applications became vulnerable overnight, which was using the log4j vulnerabilities. So there are hundreds of zero-day vulnerabilities that are constantly reported and that needs patching. Our team, our security team, constantly looks at the evolving security threats and publishes a zero-day vulnerability report every month. And we also talk about how we cover it using our PAF and the scanner. So if you are interested, please do go to our website and look at these details also. So all these things leads to lot of vulnerabilities that everybody has to juggle with, and more importantly, now these security issues have to be juggled with the growing business needs, right? Organization, a business is there to serve their end customers. Security eventually is a need, but security always is a byproduct. If they do not have customers, then having a very secure application doesn't make much of a sense. So they eventually end up prioritizing features over patching the security vulnerabilities. All these things leads to vulnerabilities remaining open for more than 180 days. And this is the biggest problem that the industry is facing. Before we talk about the solutions, just a quick poll question. The question is related to our feature also. So the question is, how often do you need a clean report for your compliance? So mostly organizations goes through their compliance audits very frequently. So how often do you need to showcase a clean report for your applications to auditors or for various compliance purposes? The poll is now open. We'll give you a few seconds to answer this. We'll give you a couple of seconds more. Yeah, it's closed. We can close the poll. Can you publish the result, please? Okay, that's pretty much what we also taught. I mean, about 70% of people have said that they need at least a quarterly report, right? So every quarter you need to show a clean compliance report to the organization. Now, this eventually, what does this mean, right? This eventually means that there is a huge security burden on the security team. The compliance auditors are constantly asking you to give the clean reports. More and more government organizations or more and more regulators are becoming very stringent. Every day there are new policies that is coming in, trying to govern how the security practices are taken care of. RBI has recently launched their own policy. And all these things means there's a huge pressure on the security team, right? And more they have to become more stringent. They have to get those applications secured and provide a very clean report to their to the auditors. But how do they do that? There is also a huge need from the business side to keep growing the business, releasing applications every week, launching new features, and developers are focusing on that, right? And in that quest of speed, they are constantly using third-party applications. They may or may not be following the best security practices. So in all those things, the security team is stuck, right? They are stuck in between, and it's kind of a tug of war between the regulators and the developers and the business need, and it's a never-ending game, right? So that's the biggest challenge and the biggest burden that we feel the security teams are facing. And this is not only what you guys are facing, right? This is the same conversation that even I have with my engineering counterpart, that, okay, hey, I have audits coming. I need to get my application secure. But my engineering comes with, hey, but you also need these features out. So what do I prioritize? So this is a conversation that happens no matter what kind of business you are in, no matter what size of your organization is it. This is a constant tussle, and this is what the security team is constantly facing. And what's the solution to it? The solution to it is to fast track your security assessment process from months to days, right? So instead of doing quarterly audits and then leaving it, what if you can do your security assessments on a daily basis, right? And then get all your vulnerabilities patched quickly, right? And as Sunil pointed out, because it is hard to get it fixed in the code very quickly, the alternative to that is to patch it in the WAF, right? Now, how do you do that? How do you do that in a more efficient manner? How can you as a security team will not have the expertise to write those WAF rules, to write accurate WAF rules without causing false positives or false negatives, and write a rule that will patch the vulnerability. So that's a huge challenge, and that is why we are very proud to announce the new feature, the SwyftComply. Let me quickly show the demo and then go into the crux of this thing. This is our AppTrana portal. Our AppTrana, as Funny pointed out, is a web solution, web application and API protection solution, and we protect both all the web applications and APIs. So when an organization partners with us and for their application security need, this is the portal that is given to them. So when you log into the portal, you will be taken to the dashboard. But the first point which I want to talk about is the onboarding process, right? So when you onboard an application behind AppTrana, what we do is, as part of AppTrana, we have integrated our scanner. So as you onboard an application, our DAT scanner will automatically start and will identify the vulnerabilities that are there in the application. And on parallelly, your application will be also onboarded in a web platform. Traffic would be routed through our web solution, and we will have the protection on. Our protection starts on block mode from day 0. And this we are able to do it because of these sophisticated rules that we have, where we have split it into advanced rules and premium rules. Advanced rules are fine-tuned for false positives. So these rules are put on block mode from day 0. And the premium rules, they remain in log mode. Our team monitors the traffic patterns, how these rules are behaving, and they adjust and fine-tune these rules and move it to block mode to ensuring that your applications are protected. So now, coming to the crux of today's webinar, you have onboarded your application, and say you have a new application that you are launching. Now you have onboarded your application and you have done a scan. You would be shown a report like this. First, let me talk about vulnerable application. Okay, now there's a vulnerable application. There are about 29 vulnerabilities there. By the way, we also complement our DAS scanner with manual pen testing. So if an organization requires for compliance reasons to also go through pen testing, you could avail the pen testing from us. Our pen testing experts are certified, so they follow the best practice in the industries, and they'll give you the pen testing report. Once the scanning is done, pen testing is done, the entire report and what are the vulnerabilities are there are automatically shown here. Now, in a typical organization, what will happen is you will have to look at these vulnerabilities. All these vulnerabilities are critical and high vulnerabilities, so you cannot release it immediately. So you will have to go to your engineering team, give them the details of these vulnerabilities, ask them to patch, ask them to fix these vulnerabilities in the code, and then again you have to go to a rescan, and then only you will get to do the protection. Now, as part of AppTrana, what we have introduced is now called as an initiate SwyftComply. So as a security team, you could onboard your application, let our scanner do its job, identify the vulnerabilities. If you need pen testing, request pen testing from us. Again, pen testing would be done. Those results would be published, and a combined report will be shown here. And you could initiate a SwyftComply. Now, what does this mean? So when you initiate a SwyftComply, what we are saying is that we will patch the vulnerabilities that are found in your applications within 72 hours in the WAF, right? All the critical high medium vulnerabilities would be patched. Obviously, it is subject to certain conditions where there could be some vulnerabilities that needs more information from the application team. So we would need to talk to you to understand why certain things are done in a certain way, so that we can write a rule without causing any FP. So sometimes we might need to get the business logic. So as long as those information are provided, we guarantee that we will be able to patch those vulnerabilities within 72 hours in the WAF. So eventually, once you start this and 72 hours afterwards, what you will see is something like this, right? So you have the same this is the same kind of all the vulnerabilities in the WAF layer. So some of these vulnerabilities are by default patched using our default set of rule sets, which is advanced rules or premium rules. But for others where we needed to write a specific patch based on the application's need, those would be also applied, and it will be shown as custom rules. So you now have a clean report, which you can see here. So this is a clean report that we will be giving to you, where we say, hey, we have found all 17 vulnerabilities. All the vulnerabilities have been patched, and there are only 0 vulnerabilities that needs fix in code. So eventually what we are saying is everything is patched and there's nothing left, and there is a very clean, and this is a report that you can give to your compliance team. And all this thing happens without any heavy lifting from your end. It is our team who would be working on this on the back and creating an autonomous patching in the WAF layer, protecting all these vulnerabilities. So this is a huge thing, and imagine the pain that we are removing from the security teams, right? You onboard an application, scan starts immediately. If you need pen testing, you request a pen testing from the portal. You get a complete scanned report. You do a single click, request for a SwyftComply, and within 72 hours, you get a clean report which says all the vulnerabilities are fixed. Of course, if there are some vulnerabilities that cannot be patched at WAF layers, we'll be calling it out separately, saying that fix in code. And now your conversation with your engineering team will be very simple. Just give them these, say there are 2 or 3 vulnerabilities that needs to be fixed in code. Just give them the details of these vulnerabilities and ask them to fix it. Then it will become a more easier conversations that you can have with your development team. So that's the quick demo as part of the new feature. Just trying to re-emphasize on what we do as part of this, right? So what we do is when an application is onboarded as part of AppTrana for application security, the first thing we do is we scan the applications using a dash scanner. Now a dash scanner can be configured to scan every day also. So you can do a continuous risk assessment of your applications. Whenever you need it, you can request for pen testing. The pen testing will be done by our team, and you will get a consolidated report of all the vulnerabilities that are there in the application. Then all you have to do is go and click on SwyftComply, and our team will look at all these vulnerabilities, see what needs to be patched, how it needs to be patched. They will write the custom rules in the WAF layer, apply it, and within 72 hours, you will be given a clean report where we are saying that, hey, all the vulnerabilities are patched. And now you may ask, right, how is it possible, and what is it that you are doing to say that you are patched? So the entire process is an autonomous process. We start the vulnerabilities, we detect the vulnerabilities. Once you request for autonomous patching for SwyftComply, our team will look at all the vulnerabilities that needs patching. So as I said before, some of these vulnerabilities would have been already patched using our default rules. So those vulnerabilities need not have more action to be done. But for all the other cases, we will write the custom rules. And our custom rules will be surgically accurate. And how do we revalidate? So for revalidation, what we do is we rerun the scan through the WAF. So when you are identifying the vulnerabilities, we run the scan directly on the application to see that is on the origin server to see what are the vulnerabilities. But once the vulnerabilities are found, we would patch those vulnerabilities, and then when the revalidation is done, the revalidation is done through the WAF layer. So it is pretty simple, right? So without WAF, we were able to find the vulnerabilities. With WAF, now we are not able to find the vulnerabilities. And the reason why we are not able to find the vulnerabilities are because those are being patched at the WAF layer. And the clean scan report will be only published once we have done this revalidation and there are no vulnerabilities that needs patching at the WAF layer. So that's the power of it. And the reason why we are able to do it is because we are the only vendors who have an integrated WAF and the scanner solution. There is a lot of integrities that goes into how a scanner finds a vulnerability. You cannot take any scan results and cleanly patch it on a WAF, because there are various payloads or different kinds of payloads that you might be using to find a vulnerability. But when a scanner finds and reports it, it will just report, hey, I sent this request with this payload and I found a vulnerability. But eventually, if you patch it only for that vulnerability or that variant, there could be other variants that are exposed, which eventually means your application still remains exposed. So you need a WAF solution which is closely integrated, which has a close integration like us, where the WAP and the DAST is owned by the same organization. There's a cross communications that continuously happen between the WAF team and the scanner team. As they find new vulnerabilities, they talk to the WAF solutions, trying to tell them how these vulnerabilities need to be patched. So there's a close integration that is constantly happening, which has enabled us to provide this feature. This feature is not something that we have taught out of the taught it overnight and released it. This is something that many of our customers are already using it. Now we have bundled it into a single feature and have releasing it, because many of our customers, what they do is, even now, as they find the vulnerabilities, they go and request for custom rules, and our team patch it. And once the vulnerabilities are patched, they are able to generate a clean report, which they can give to a compliance team. Now we have bundled it, all these things together into a single solution and a single feature, which you can request as a single click, and you will be given a clean report in the portal. So that's the effectiveness that we bring, and the reason why we are able to do it is the close integration between DAST and the WAF, and the huge experience we have in providing a managed web solution with zero false positive guarantee, where we are fine-tuning the rules and we are writing the custom rules for you. So another poll question quickly. Hope you like the demo. Hope you like the feature. So based on this, would you want a detailed demo about SwyftComply and the AppTrana solution? The poll is
Yeah, so
getting.
we'll keep the poll open. While I think we can
Yeah.
on to the rest of the presentation there.
Sure. So with the poll is remaining open, you can submit the poll as you go. Let me just continue. I'm reaching the end of my presentation. I just wanted to close my presentation by giving you a complete overview of our AppTrana solution. So our AppTrana is the web solution that I have been talking about. Is the only solution that takes a risk-based approach to application security, where we provide a completely managed web solution by combining both human and technological intelligence, and providing a viable solution to our customers that also provides zero false positive guarantees. And the best part about this is that because of the zero false positive guarantee and the managed web that we provide, nearly 100% of our customers remain in block mode in a web when they subscribe to a web solution, which is kind of unheard in the market. So as part of our AppTrana platform, what do? Is we have multiple layers. So we start with discovery, where we allow the organizations to identify the various applications that are part of their organization. As I talked before, application sprawling is very common. There are more and more applications that are being deployed for every organization, and as a security team, you're not aware what our applications are there. So as part of our discovery module, we will scan the organization from externally and provide you a list of all the applications that are exposed to this internet. Now, once you have looked at this list of applications, you can onboard these applications behind our AppTrana platform, where the risk detection will start. We will identify the vulnerabilities using our dash scanner and the pen testing. And in parallel, a protection will start where traffic will be routed through our WAF module, which is completely a SaaS application in AWS. Along with this, we also provide bot, DDoS mitigation solution and API security solution. And in our API security solution, we also have positive security models and API discovery capabilities. And the last but not least, the biggest part is the risk monitoring piece. The biggest pillar is the risk monitoring piece, where we provide a complete managed WAF solution to our customers, ensuring that the WAF is working seamlessly without any false positives. And also, because we do not want to compromise speed because of protection, we have integrated CDN with our solution. And as part of AppTrana platform, you get a complete security application security solution without compromising speed, and you can use it for both protection and acceleration of your websites and APIs. With that, I come to the end of my presentation. We are open for questions.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of questions already. So this question is from Mike. He's saying, is there really such a thing as a clean report with zero vulnerabilities? Does that say that there are no vulnerabilities found? I think it's a fairly big question. So maybe let me read the entire thing.
Okay.
Does that say that there are no vulnerabilities found? How likely is that? Especially when we speak about balancing risk and mitigations, there may be some things we know are vulnerable, but we put mitigations in place or accept the risk. If it is I think he's talking about a file upload. And then he's saying, if we have virtual patches, we still have vulnerabilities. So not zero vulnerability. Is that right? Is one question. Then there is a follow-up question but maybe you can answer the thing.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a fair question. I mean, as a security practitioners, the term that the clean report is a misnomer, right? You will feel that, hey, how is this even possible? I hope that as part of my demo and everything, I was able to demonstrate what we mean by the clean scan report. What we mean that, hey, we understand that applications are going to be vulnerable. We are identifying those vulnerabilities. Now, some maybe can be patched in code, some can be patched at a WAF layer. We are giving you assurance that anything that can be patched in the WAF layer, we will patch it. If there are any vulnerabilities that cannot be patched, we will call it out as, okay, it needs to be fixed in code. Now, those fixed or that needs to be fixed in code will have to be fixed at the code level. And now there again, the same prioritization questions will come in, whether this is a must-have fix or can we live with it? So those are the things that eventually a security practitioner has to consider before deciding how to provide it. But from our end, when we say a clean scan report, what we mean is that we'll be giving a report where all the vulnerabilities that we have found that can be patched by WAF is patched. And we have again rerun a revalidation through the WAF, ensuring that those vulnerabilities are not found anymore before giving a clean scan.
So essentially, I think just to clarify, whenever you add a virtual patch on the WAF, we are giving you a guarantee that it cannot be exploited anymore.
Exactly.
So that is the guarantee that our team is giving. And I think if I'm not wrong, the thing about what cannot be patched on WAF, what we've seen is Vivek clarify this, but close to 99 or very close to 100% of vulnerabilities are always, we can patch them on the WAF unless it is like the heartbleed vulnerability that was on the SSL certificates where you have to upgrade. But Vivek, just clarify that.
I mean, again, there are vulnerabilities. Yes, majority of the application layer vulnerabilities can be patched at a WAF layer because it all depends on how the vulnerability is and what is the kind of request that is coming in to exploit those vulnerabilities. So those can be looked at and patched at. But that said, there will always be some vulnerabilities, right? If there is a server configuration that needs to be changed, then if that is the vulnerability, then obviously the server configuration has to be done to fix those vulnerabilities. That cannot be patched. Probably we can avoid exploitation of it at to a certain level by creating rules around those based on what is a configuration that is missing. But you would need to fix it in the code for that vulnerability to completely. So there will remain some vulnerabilities like that. Again, SSL vulnerabilities are a good example. If the SSL has expired at the origin, SSL has expired at the origin. We cannot do anything. Obviously, the SSL at the WAF layer will be okay, but eventually the communication between WAF to the origin will be on the expired certificate, right? So those things are something that needs to be fixed in the code or on the server level, has to be done only at the code or the server level, and that cannot be patched. But apart from that, majority of the vulnerabilities, especially the business logic vulnerabilities, many of those things, which are the common ones which are being exploited in the wild, can be definitely be patched at the WAF layer.
Okay, and the next question is the same continuation. One example of a vulnerability is if an application has file upload and is vulnerable if files are not scanned with antivirus when it is uploaded. How may this be protected via WAF?
So, I mean, in this case, we have a scanner, file scanner, which would, as you upload a vulnerability, scan for the vulnerabilities. But as I again said, I mean, in this case, yes, we will, I mean, in the specific example, yes, we will again be able to protect you because as the files are getting uploaded, we would scan it through our malware scanner, and if there are any malwares found, we will alert you that, hey, there is a malware found in this thing. We don't do sandboxing, but obviously we will be able to alert you that, hey, we have found a malware in this files. So that can be taken care of. But again, as I said, I'm not contending that all vulnerabilities can be fixed at the WAF layer. There will remain some vulnerabilities that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is from a current customer. I'm an AppTrana advanced plan customer. When will this feature be available?
This feature is going live very soon. You can reach out to your account managers around on which plans will this be available. Currently, the feature is available only for Advanced Plus and Premium customers.
Enterprise and premium, right?
Yeah, enterprise.
Okay. What about DDoS?
So DDoS, we do protect. I mean, as I said, our AppTrana web solution is a comprehensive solution which takes care of web application firewall, bot, DDoS, and API protection. We have a very strong coverage for our DDoS protection. We have done a couple of webinars just on the DDoS side of things in the past. I will encourage you to go through those webinars to understand our DDoS capabilities. But that said, we have a very comprehensive DDoS coverage. You can also request for a demo, and our team will reach out to you to give you a complete demo around then all the features that are part of AppTrana.
And the next one, Mike, he's saying second question has been answered. So maybe I'll attempt to answer the first question again. So Mike, see, most vulnerabilities are application specific, in that, whether they are business logic or whether they are related to the technologies that you use. So a way to find out whether we are able to give you 100% clean report is to do a trial with us, where at least we'll be able to tell you, okay, these are the vulnerabilities found, and all of these vulnerabilities, how many of those can be protected on the web. And since our pen testing team is also certified, they can always, if you still have questions, they can always run a few payloads and show you how the WAF is blocking the vulnerabilities that have been patched. Vivek, anything that you want to add to what I just said?
No, I think Funny, you have covered it very well. I would again, just trying to re-emphasize it, right? What we are saying is we will patch vulnerabilities that can be patched at web, and we do a very good job of that, and we'll give you a clean report around that. You could definitely try our trial version and see how far does this take you for based on your application, and then decide how comprehensive this is.
Okay, I think we are actually at the end of the webinar, and looks like there are no more questions. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining us in this neat feature launch called SwyftComply. Stay tuned for more updates on this, and feel free to reach out to our sales team on the website, and we'll be able to give you a more detailed demo on the capability. Thank you so much, and have a great day ahead.
Thank you.